So when did you decide that you were going to write this short film, Autism and Cake?
Autism and Cake came about, I was in a writing class for Ken Rotkop's writing class. I met Ken in probably 91, way back. And he was my screenwriting mentor. And occasionally I would run into a friend named Tracy Wren.
Okay.
And we would sit down and we would say, we should do something together. She's a director, writer and director. We should you do that, you know, and then you see her again. We should do something together, just like this. And finally, she gave me a call one day and she said, you know, I'm really good friends with this man named Stephen Elba. And Stephen Elba was Ed Asner's assistant for a long, long time, 20, 30 years. And she said, you know, Stephen thinks that Ed would be open to doing something, some short film for us, that we could get into film festivals and things like that. So we sat down together, Stephen, Tracy and I kind of had already had this story in my head about a grandfather and whether he could accept his grandson, autism diagnosis and how they could kind of come together and have a relationship. And so we worked on the story. It was the strangest thing because it came together in about 3 weeks. From that phone call to the set for 2 days.
Wow.
It was just a ride.
Wow.
How quick that came together. Ed's schedule was available. Tracy got the production crew together. Stephen helped Ed bring in some extras. Edith Fields was in it. Marvin Kaplan, who I knew for years and years and finally got to work with him. Chase Edmonds played the boy. And he's been featured in a couple of large films. So he was fantastic. And I was the autism expert on the film, and so I had to pull Chase aside and just kind of give him some help.
Right.
But yeah, that all happened in about 3 weeks.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And we've got a picture there for people to see. So, and this is available online. People can see it. It doesn't cost them anything. They can go and look, and it's what, like 12 minutes long?
12 minutes long. It was also just featured at the NAMI Film Festival. The Mental Health Film Festival last month in Miami, Florida. And
there's a link. We shortened the link so that if you go there, because you know the links get so long nowadays. But so here's a shorter link that Samantha has made, so you can go there and be able. I'm not even going to attempt to read it. So for those of you listening on iTunes, I'm sorry. But there's you can just Google Autism and Cake and Google Kimberly Kaplan with a K, both with a K, and you'll be able to find it and watch it. It's a very sweet film, and it's always lovely to watch Ed, right?
That he gave us his time.
Yeah.
For free.
Oh man.
And he gave us, because he's, you know, with autism, it's his life.
It's personal.
Yeah, it's very personal.
Yeah.
And he gave us his time, and it was just an amazing experience that happened so fast.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And so, had you already met Ed before this? Was he on your radar and you were on his radar?
Not really.
Interesting.
Yeah,
all the things that you were doing.
Yeah, I don't think I had worked with Matt yet, Matt Asner, because eventually I would volunteer for Matt Asner at Autism Speaks, but I don't think I knew. I think Tracy was the one. Tracy Wren was the one who knew Stephen and Ed. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that she's the one who brought them in.
So fascinating.
Yeah.
But now, even, you know, and you continue to do things with Autism Speaks?
I haven't in a couple of years. Okay. I've moved over to Autism Society of America. That's where we ran into each other.
We went to last year to the Ed Asner poker tournament, and we were both there, and you were running the volunteers. You were like,
no.
Oh, come on. You were like, it looked like you were in charge.
No.
All right. You had a lot
walk
going
around
on.
like that sometimes, but no. I just want to do that for Ed. Because Ed gave me his time for that film.
Wow.
And 1 year I had to miss it. I just happened to be out of town. But I've done Ed's poker tournament now for 5 years, most of the time that it's been out there.
And so I assume you're going to this year's poker tournament.
Yep, it's on my calendar, and I will. Yeah, I need to contact the woman who I do not run it. There is a woman.
All right. I had to just rearrange some stuff yesterday because I want to make sure that I'm at it. I think it's one of the funnest events of the year.
It's fantastic.
Because there's a different feel to that poker tournament that it's very star-studded. Yeah. And I think that adds to it, but it's a little looser. Yeah. You know, and it's an adult event.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
It's a very last year in particular was so much fun. But after everything was done, we were on the red carpet and covering, and you had a lot of responsibilities, and then there was a moment where there wasn't anything to do because people were playing poker and we weren't playing poker, and we had a lovely visit.
I got a break, and you were there, and yeah.
And I was like, how have we not had you on the show? Now it's taken us almost a year to have our schedules coincide, but I'm so glad that you came and talked, and it's all so fascinating, and I hope the people learn. I remember feeling in the early days that autism was now going to be my entire life, and any personal ambition that I had was going to be in another state, like just so far away that I couldn't even see it. And I love to tell young moms when they will say to me, well, my life, my life is over. What I wanted for my life is over.
It's a despair that they have.
Right?
They look,
And I felt that way. And it sounds like that you had some feelings of that too. But I want people to look and go, it isn't.
Right.
That you took what you experienced with autism, and that just drove your writing career that much more.
Autism got me back into writing. My son got me back into writing, and I haven't stopped since.
Yeah.
I put it down. I was like, I don't want to do this. What? I didn't have time, and I didn't. Nothing inspired me. Nothing. Yeah.
And that's okay. I want people to know that's a phase, and it's okay, but it isn't forever. It isn't forever. So now you said you're working at the YMCA.
I part-time work in childcare at the YMCA.
And where's your writing now?
Writing now is screenplays. I am doing a book with my mentor, which is very exciting to actually have it come full circle. I'm not sure I can name the book.
Okay. We don't want to tell secrets.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I tried to, I thought about it on the way over here. I was like, can I say it yet? I'm not sure.
If there's a question, you can always come back.
Well, my mentor is Ken Rodcop, and he asked me to write with him about this celebrity friend of his. Okay. And it has publishing through Bear Manor, and will be coming out early next year.
Very cool.
And it tickles me that I'm writing with my mentor.
That's fabulous.
That is still the weirdest thing.
What a wonderful thing.
But I'm just very excited about that.
What a wonderful, and how, we don't want to be disrespectful, so I only want you to tell me things that it's okay for him, but how's your son now? And
part of what I blog about this, and I tell other people about this. He's 15, and sometimes he's so typical.
And that's a mixed bag, right?
At 15 it is. At 8 or 9, maybe not. Right. At 15, that is a total mixed bag.
It's like, ooh, okay. Yeah, no, I can relate.
Okay, I really wasn't coming off mean, Jason, but you could take it that way if you want to, okay?
Right, teenage boys.
Get up to school. Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then the clothes changed. Literally overnight. He went to high school, and the shorts went away, and he wanted pants and coat and long hair.
Love it.
Overnight. I had a shorts kid. Now I have a pants kid. I don't know how that happened.
That's exciting.
But there's so many typical things, and then there's the things that we're just used to dealing. And he's just so he's a communicator, and he's a negotiator, and he.
Good.
But he will still sit down and talk to us and try to understand things. And once he cools down, if there's an issue at home, but I just love it. I love the fact that he can talk to us, and again, even on a typical level, that if we have a child that can come to us and talk to us.
Yeah.
But to understand the autism stuff, and he also went into high school without an aide for the first time.
Wow.
So cold turkey.
Yeah.
He had an aide for 2 classes last year, so it wasn't quite cold turkey, so we kind of wound it down. But he went into freshman year of high school without an aide. It was rough for the first month. He wasn't late for classes or things like that. It was just organizing his work and trying to understand that these are big time classes now, and you gotta, we always had homework before devices anyway.
Right.
But now we really had to clamp down on it.
Yeah. How did he do? Because it was freshman year for us too.
Yeah.
And the thing that I was the most scared about was finals, because the concept of finals and like we did finals at the end of the first semester, and that was one thing, but then to have a cumulative final at the end of the year to recall things from the first week, I was like, I think
they did that in middle school. So.
Ours didn't.
Oh, okay. Jason
totally
was a little
classes.
Jason was a little used to that. The only thing in middle school is he did stay at school the whole day. High school, you go and you take your final and you come home if you have your scheduled finals.
Yes.
So that was a little, but he's fine with that.
Yeah, that's
he
like,
allowed him to come home. But for that, I really pressed instilling what I had to do as a student athlete. I had to start early to study. I couldn't do it overnight and do it all at once.
Yeah.
High school, I was playing sports all the time. College, I was playing sports all the time. I had to start early. And he tried it his way, because he has his own ideas about things. So that first semester in middle school, he tried it his way. And it was the last minute studying, and we got frustrated, and we got frustrated, and it just didn't work out. And so that second semester, I said, okay, here are the dates for your finals. Here's a couple weekends before.
Right.
So let's start organizing. Let's start getting prepared. This weekend, I know it seems early to, it seems like, you can't get ready now. But trust me, you can start getting stuff prepared.
Yeah.
So then the next weekend, when you really had to buckle down, we did. Right. So we spread it out.
Smart mom.
Since then, he's on that.
He's got it.
Yeah. He understands. We look at the calendar. We see a couple weekends before, and we say, okay, here's where we should start organizing this and this and this.
Yeah.
And because he needs his breaks. He needs his time with his devices. He just gets too frustrated and with all of it happening at once.
Well, I think we all need breaks, right?
And he's not crazy about studying and homework.
Well, who would be is my thing. Who exactly
But
is...
he's a smart, intelligent young man, and he does well. He does A's and B's.
Lovely.
But as I mentioned at the beginning of freshman year, was a struggle where he wasn't always turning assignments in, even though they were in his folder.
It's that, I'm telling you, it's that EF stuff in the junior high school and the high school years. And it isn't just our kids. I used to teach this age group, and you'd see kids, and they no diagnosis and not qualified for diagnosis. Let's say that too, that they would do the work, but the skill of being able to do the work and turn it in by the time it's supposed to,
that one
in
folder.
the format that it's supposed to be, is a struggle for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's why we have business coaches, because people aren't getting productive enough because they don't follow all of the steps. I struggle with these things.
He walks to school, to high school, and he walked to elementary. Well, I would take him to elementary school. Middle school was a little farther, so most days I would drive him. But the minute he was out of my sight, or just before then, I would say, okay, turn in your science.
Right.
But on the walk to the building,
it
would all go away.
Yeah.
And I would have a folder, completed work.
Right.
All he had to do was remember to take that out.
Right. But it's hard. But you've got through it.
Yes.
And he's doing better at that. He's getting more used to it.
Yeah.
Those are, we always talk about that on the show. Their executive function skills, the ability to follow through all the way with a goal.
Writing notes. It was another big old school thing.
Writing notes
that
for you.
That he now does. He has one of these on his pencil box.
Right.
And he writes down.
That's fabulous.
And he'll write down notes to remind himself to do stuff when he gets home too.
Fabulous.
So by the time beginning to end of freshman year, he had notes, and I had notes that I would send with him.
That's great.
And it's old school. But you know what?
If
that's
it
what
works,
works. Yes, that's what works.
That's all you need is something that works.
Yeah.
And then in terms of, for you and your husband, do you feel a little bit like at this point it's like, wow, nobody's ever done, right? And you're never done. No, it doesn't matter, neurotypical or otherwise, you're never done with your child. Right. But do you kind of feel a little bit like you've arrived?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. First of all, typical children will get to a certain age when you can leave them home. It's not the case with a lot of our families. Whether your child on the autism spectrum is 16 or 17, you got to really make sure that they can stay alone before you allow that to happen. Yeah. So around 12 or 13, we just did little times. And now it's just like, I don't even think twice about it. Yeah. Jason, I'm going to go here and I'll be back in a couple hours.
Right. So you, in a lot of respects, have your life back.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Yeah,
but I want people to hear that, because I think people need to know what's possible and that what hard work can do, and to see that this may not be the rest of your life in the way that
he'll go to college. He'll be okay. He'll do, as Temple Grandin says, they'll find their thing. Right. And he doesn't know what it is. And I told him I didn't know what it was in college either. Right, so don't worry about it. You'll find it.
That's fabulous.
He'll find his thing. He'll be okay.
But what is he into? right now?
Well,
in this
devices,
space?
of course.
Right.
But trains.
Okay.
Dodgers.
Oh, okay. Yes.
He does have.
We've seen you at Dodger games.
Yes, that's right. That's right. We did do that one time. But he does have some variety of interests. Back when he was drawing this Titanic, I would have just told you Titanic.
Right.
I don't think I would have given you a bunch of things.
But nice to know that there are other things
Yeah.
besides Titanic, that he was a kid who would just draw the Titanic, and now he's got
Yes.
a wider variety.
Yeah.
Somebody out there needed to hear that today.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And
Yeah.
that does get better.
Yeah.
And I think even back then, I would encourage parents to give time limits and things like that,
Yeah.
because when the devices started getting really, I think the Wii started before the phone, the computer, then the Wii, then the phone.
Yeah.
But with the computer, a half an hour, dude, and then you got to get off,
Yeah.
and then you got to give them 5-minute warnings
Right.
and 3-minute warnings. And 2-minute We're
Yeah.
big on warnings in our family.
Oh, us too.
Yeah.
But has he tried VR yet? The virtual reality stuff?
No.
We'll have to have you come over, but then you'll hate me.
No, I like
she's
you
not
too
coming,
much.
I
I
see
don't.
it.
I don't want to hate you.
Because that's where my son is lost to right now is VR.
But I have to tell you one more thing, if we have time.
Yeah.
He has gotten into the Super Smash Brothers gaming.
Okay.
And so there's that. There's a gaming world, right?
Yes.
Where they
Oh,
go and they
yes.
spend a lot of time doing this and all that. But I take him to these events.
Okay.
And again, because of his age, I can let him go.
Yeah.
And he is so happy.
Yeah.
He's found, I don't know if it's going to be forever or whatever, but he can be himself.
Yeah.
He can be happy without mom. I have to stay there, and I stay nearby
Right.
because he's a minor. But I can just let him go and be himself, and he's social. He'll go up to
Love
people and like, hey, what character do you play? I made this character. I don't really know much about it. But there's just this whole social aspect that has opened up in the last probably year and a half with this gaming. So I want parents to not be afraid of the technology, because there's a lot of good that can come out of it.
Yeah.
But especially early on, teach them time limits and homework before technology and things of that. And it's important to stick to it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because middle school and high school, the work gets more important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All good advice. I'm so glad
Absolutely.
we finally made this happen.
And before, one more thing before
Yes.
I go, Shannon, you're an amazing, amazing mom.
Well,
Autism
thanks.
mom. And,
Well, right back at you.
No, and that you do this. And I prepped for this by rewatching some old episodes, and I wrote down some notes. I have to get this book, Queen for a Day.
Oh,
And I looked at
yeah.
this cool toy.
You know what?
That
I
you
will
had.
lend you my copy.
Oh,
before you leave, I'm going to lend
Okay,
you my copy.
okay.
But but I shouldn't, because she said it's changed.
Oh.
But so I don't know. But it's really everybody needs to read.
But
Queen
I
for a Day.
rewatched a lot of the Matt Asner one, and I was like,
yeah.
oh gosh, I forgot. I got to keep watching these.
We have a good time here. We have a
Yeah.
really good time. And it's interesting how I didn't plan on doing this. This
Right.
was not my plan
Right.
at all.
Right.
But things sort of happen, and
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody that I hope that everybody at some point finds their niche,
Their thing,
their thing of how not only how autism makes sense, but how they can give back through autism, and that it's helpful to them and helpful to other people.
Right.
And I, when I meet moms like you, and it's so clear to me, and I go, look how that all worked out. Like, isn't that amazing? And yet I know a bunch of us.
Yeah.
We should all get together. Like, we should have a conference, all the moms who've been able to find
A panel, yeah.
right,
Have a panel.
and get together, because together we could probably do something that would
my
blow
gosh.
the roof off of some building.
And again, I'm more old school because but this is today's technology that you're streaming live.
Well,
Information for parents that they can go, oh, I just heard that, and I can go look it up right now. I mean, that's amazing.
well, thank you.
It's amazing.
For me, it was what attracted to me to first doing the radio show and then doing this was back in the day when I was hunkered down in those 3 years when I didn't go out, and I literally became agoraphobic and didn't go out, right?
Yeah.
And had to do cognitive behavioral therapy to get out of my house. I mean, that's how severe I was.
Yeah.
But I would see online, this conference and this conference, and this person is going to speak, and they're going to tell the secret of this, and I would go, going to these conferences? Like, who has the time and the money, and where's their kid?
Yeah,
Who's
yeah.
watching their kid?
Yeah.
And I wanted to know what all those experts had to say, but I needed it free, and I needed it available 24 hours a day.
Well, what I did was I went to them, but I volunteered. That's how you got them free.
But where was your son? You had childcare.
I had to arrange it with my husband, or he had preschool, and he actually, because we were parents who threw everything at him. So it wasn't just the at-home stuff. Once he was eligible for preschool, we got him 2 preschools. I mean, we wanted, with an aide, but we wanted him to be in as many things as possible.
Yeah.
To just kind of give him as much as possible.
Yeah.
So I could arrange it. My husband was, worked with me fantastically.
That's amazing.
To arrange it. But that's how a lot of times I would get to conferences.
That's amazing. Volunteering, what a great idea.
Yeah.
What a great idea. See, like it's that when you get in that attitude of I'm going to make it work however I can, and then I found one way and you found another way. It isn't just one way.
Right.
It's not one size fits all ever in this environment.